Okay. I'm going to show you something else which I personally think is really cool about this, and I know some of you guys who already have mini discs already know, and everybody thinks this is cool, and I'm one of them. Let me reach over for a sec, get one of my discs. I love these, by the way, the TDK WAs or WAs, or whatever you want to call them. I have to import these, but God, I love how they look. Anyway, you might have noticed this little thing over here. Unlike the RH1, where they have their screen right on the door, right there, which doesn't really give too much information, just the basic relevant information that you would need, like how much time is left on the track, what type of compression rate it is, and stuff like that. It's on here instead. And it's an OLED, which uses up less battery juice than this regular screen here. But look at that. Instead of the usual black and white, check that out. Look at the blue. I love that. I just love that. This is the little glowing blue light and such, and it just turns on, and still things just Walkman. Now there you go. All the relevant information displayed there. If I decide to just press play, which I will, then you get to see, there you go. You got the left and right speakers showing the different, how loud it is on either side, because this is a stereo recorder. And all the information is there. And then of course if you want, you can change the display, you know, to different things. Like now it's just telling you how much time is left. Now it's, oops, I forgot I had this on hold. Let me start it all over again. Okay, if you show it right here, you got, you know, now it's saying how much time is left. Now it's showing the whole disc. This is supposed to say what year, date, and time, whatever the thing was recorded. I didn't put that information there yet. And then just simply different, you know, ways of showing, you know, the sound playing. And that's just a little cool feature. I also like the fact that they put the window on the side rather than on the door. This was because a lot of people tend to put this in their pockets or their shirt pockets or their pouches. Like I got a pouch right now on the side for my blue mini display there, the NH3D. So you can sometimes just lift up the flap and you'll see the information right there. You don't have to pull it out. You can just look down in your shirt pocket or look down in your pouch, and there it is. There's all the relevant information right there. Of course, you could just simply look at, you know, your remote as well, and that's the way I do it. But it's just a nice little thing for those who decide not to use a remote and they just simply have that there. It's, you know, a thoughtful little feature, I would think. Now, there are a couple of things about this that do kind of annoy me, and I'll admit they're minor. It is a bit of nitpicking, but it's not exactly completely perfect. Number one is it feels really, really light, which many people consider a good thing because if it feels light, it won't feel cumbersome in your pocket while you're recording or listening to it. The problem is, since it feels light, it feels so delicate, you're terrified of anything bumping into it or hitting it or anything like that. You know, you really want to be delicate with this thing. So it's something that you're going to fear, at least on my end, I fear taking this thing out. I am going to be taking this thing out for recording and doing voice recordings while I'm at work and such, but you know, you're gonna be like, ooh, you feel like, you know, you got to be delicate with it. Now, granted, I felt the same thing about the NH1 over here, but this one, I don't know what it is. It feels light too, but it feels a little bit more substantial than this one does. This one feels like it could take a little bit more abuse, and believe me, it can take some abuse. My other units really have gone through hell. That could be why one of them right now is bricked. But these things definitely can stand up to it, and they look like they can stand up to it. I mean, you can tell this thing was made out of freaking metal, straight up casing of metal. This one's made out of metal too, don't get me wrong, and you can feel it, but I don't know, it's just, this one feels a bit more substantial. Another thing that kind of annoys me is, for as well crafted as this is, the battery doors is a cheap little flimsy piece of plastic. I mean, look at this. This is the NH1's battery door. It's made of metal. It's got, you know, it's made of several parts. It's sturdy. It's got hinges and all that. And it's built into the unit. It's meant to be part of the unit, and it fits right back in easily. It's not flimsy, you know. It's well constructed. It looks like, you know, some care was put into its, you know, design. Now, look at this battery door. Just a little piece of plastic. That's it. That's it. That's all it is. Just a little flappy piece of plastic. Now, they probably did that to cut costs in its building, but I don't know. It just kind of bothers me that it's just a little tiny piece of plastic, and if you do this too hard, you can easily snap it off. You can snap it back on, yeah, and I know that because it happened to me the first time I took this out the box, but still, it just kind of bothered me. Now, I know that seems to be kind of nitpicking, but the next part is something that's kind of universal to pretty much all mini discs. You have to be careful with these things when they're recording. When you're recording, you pretty much have to keep them on a stable surface, or if you're keeping them in your shirt pocket, you make sure that you're not bumping into anything. Because once you finish recording and you hit the stop button, that's when it's writing to the disc and writing to the, a section of the disc, which is sort of like, it's sort of like the table of contents for the disc, and it's writing all that relevant information, so you'll be able to find your recording later on when you're sifting through. If you bump this thing or hit this thing or shake it or whatever, it could fuck everything up and you just lost whatever it is you've recorded. And if you've been recording for like maybe 1, 2, 3 hours and then you suddenly bump it and that's all gone, it's going to frustrate the hell out of you. And not only that, but it might also completely mess up your disc too. I've had one disc ruined that way. That was a while back, but it can happen. You got to be careful with these things. They're a little delicate when they're recording anyway. It's because of all the moving parts, which leads me to another complaint, and again, this is kind of universal to a lot of mini discs. Because of all the moving parts, and I guess this is the same complaint, you really have to be careful with how you carry them around and how much abuse they take. Because all it takes is just the lens to be moved just a millimeter and everything's fucked. That's why one of my mini disc recorders, one of my older RH1 models, that's why it doesn't work anymore. I know the lens has been moved somehow because it can't read shit. I've tried cleaning the lens, I've tried blowing on it, whatever. It won't read anything. It will just spin and spin and spin. And I know it's not because the disc is messed up, because when I take the disc out and simply close it, it knows there's no disc in there. It tells me there's no disc. So the problem is the lens can't read it. And I think the problem is because the lens has been moved or damaged in some way, and it's probably because of all the, with moving parts, you got to be careful. Flash recorders don't have that problem, but then again, flash recorders don't have all the features that these things do per cost. So, yeah. One last thing, real quick. I know a lot of people have complained about the microphone that comes with this model, and I'll admit it's not a top-of-the-line microphone. I mean, it's pretty much an $80 mic. So if you're a major recording artist, you're definitely going to want a mic that costs a lot more, that's powered up on its own. But for all intents and purposes, the recordings I've made with this have come out pretty well. It picks up sound well, it's very crisp and clear, and it gets the job done. I have not had a problem with it. So this is probably going to be the main mic that I use, especially since I'm not a professional recording artist. So yeah, that's my quick little, well, not that quick, but that's my review in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and expect me to, I will be doing voice recordings at work instead of just camera stuff. So every now and then, instead of a video up on YouTube, you'll hear a voice recording, and just know that those voice recordings were done with this. This is going to be my main workhorse. My new NH1 that I'm replacing my old one with is going to be backup, and this little beauty is going to be my main player. Oh man, I'm probably just going to do a video just on this, just to tell you why I love this one so much. But yeah, so that's it, guys. Catch you guys later. Hope you like the review.